Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Doing some cryptograms.
Sure. What is that?
You do cryptograms?
Is that like a Robert Langdon thing? Are you trying to find the Da Vinci Code?
Kinda. It's a thing old people do.
Mm-hmm.
They used to be in newspapers, but there's an app where it's a series of letters that are gibberish, but they correspond to letters in the alphabet, and you have to figure out which letters.
I used to do those puzzles. Sure.
They're really fun.
Yeah, no, it's the kind of desperation activity you do in, like, I don't know, a big box retailer's break room.
Yep. Or waking up in the morning.
Or in the hospital.
Me and Hannah, we just sat in bed eating bagels and doing cryptograms like some olds. Like a couple of olds.
You guys are really disgusting.
I know, right?
And I need you to know this.
Yeah, but it's great. We also do crossword puzzles.
Yeah, that's so goddamn old.
We'll swap the crossword puzzles so the other one will help the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to die of old age in like a year.
Yeah, before the year is out. Yeah.
Hi,
it's going to be like the Spielberg segment of the Twilight movie, only like opposite.
Anyway, hi.
We're old now.
Hi, everybody.
I suppose
Hello.
we can donate money to the Republican Party.
Hello.
Oh, I love this beginning. It's getting people pumped.
Yeah, listen. You do this to me all the time on Hypecast. Give me this.
It's fine. It's perfectly fine. We're doing great.
Mm-hmm. No, we're doing excellent work. This is quality.
Yeah. My name is David Bell.
My name is Tom Ryman.
What were you going to say, Tom?
I was going to say this episode will land us on like best of lists of the year for podcasting.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, it will.
This episode alone.
And we just watched F9.
F9! F9, what over?
Yeah, I love your instincts.
All right, Dom. What's next?
No matter how fast you are,
I am not to be compared to you.
no one outruns their past.
I am more easy, you trying your best to become me.
And mine just caught up to me.
Been a long time, Dom.
Yeah, this is the 9th Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Starring Vineyard Diesel and other people.
Vineyard DeSell.
Yeah.
This movie has a bonkers cast. It's the latest bonkers edition in this bonkers franchise.
Yeah, this is like, you know, people have been waiting for this. They've been waiting to hear podcasts about it.
Yeah.
We've been hearing about this movie for like 2 years. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
To listen to
this is a podcast movie.
like us talk about this movie.
There's at least like 10 podcasts.
About the Fast and Furious movies, I know.
Oh, yeah, but no, I mean, that's been... Well, there's only one really good one, obviously.
Yeah, there's one good one.
Yeah, but what I mean is like there's a lot of podcasts that like make this a tradition. It's like, we're going to talk about Fast and Furious. Oh, new Fast and Furious. And there's a lot of hype. You know, there's a lot of memes. It's a very meme movie.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of this particular F movie?
It was fine. Like,
it was fine.
It was fine. There was a couple of moments where I laughed pretty hard at some stuff, but otherwise, if I'm being perfectly honest, I felt absolutely nothing watching this movie.
So I wanted to address that because I don't think. All right, there's a difference between not liking the Fast and Furious franchise and installment that just is kind of blah. And
I wanted to qualify my opinion with I've only seen maybe half of these, so I haven't seen all of them.
I missed kind of the middle. I was stuck around for the beginning, and I've been around for the end.
I haven't seen four. I have not seen 4, 5, and I have not seen 4, 5, 6, and 8.
I haven't seen the whole saga where Gal Gadot dies.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about her character. My favorite has to be at this point Tokyo Drift because I mean it's just so meaty.
Yeah, it's a lot to
full
sink
of-
your teethers into.
And I guess this is where I was heading, is that like this series, it reminds me of like the James Bond movies or the Mission Impossibles, which is that I'm never not going to see them and I'm never not delighted to watch them, but they run through me pretty fast. Like when the dust settles, people are going to look back and be like, well, there was like 3 good ones. You know what I mean?
I liked Hobbs and Shaw a lot more than I liked this. And
Yes.
I just think maybe it was a combination of having to wait an additional year for it, and so it was just more stuff leaked throughout that year, and then like it's had this bizarre release where it's been in international theaters for like a month already.
Yeah.
So it's like I felt like as I was watching the movie, like I had seen everything already.
Right. Yeah, I
So
knew
there wasn't
there
any.
was nothing surprising.
There was no surprise. There was no set piece that hadn't already been revealed in a trailer or in something that I just happened to encounter. It felt like going through the motions, like on my part as well as the movie's part. Like I felt like I was there out of more out of obligation at a certain point.
Right.
So it's just like, this isn't really like, I'm not disliking this. It's just it's very going through the motions.
I think, yeah, this feels like they were going through the motions to get to Fast 10, because I've been trying to think of like what makes a good Fast and Furious movie, and what makes us love it, and why do I love Tokyo Drift over this?
Mm-hmm.
And one is, I think that it has to be dead serious about its bullshit, right? But
The
the
melodrama is a big factor.
Yeah.
Of the appeal. Like it has to be earnest.
Yeah, the stunts have to be done. That's another big one. And I commend this movie like I commend all of them, because every time I watch one, I say to myself, oh, God, they did a CGI stunt there. And then I go Google it, and it's like, oh, no.
No, a lot of
did that.
No, I didn't have that. I mean, there's a couple of things where you're just like, well, that's an effect. But it seemed like there was enough.
Yeah, here's the problem, is that the escalation, there's sort of a meta gaming happening now. And there's sort of a internet culture around these movies where people are like, oh, look how wild they are. And they're just sort of, like we joke about, oh, The Rock, held that helicopter in Hobbs and Shaw. And there's a good way and a bad way to do that. And I felt like they were a little too in on the joke. Mm-hmm. And they didn't blow me away with their ridiculousness. Like going to space, spoilers, they go to space.
But we all knew that.
The problem with that, one, we all knew that. Yeah. 2, everybody's commenting about how wild and crazy it is. 3, it actually isn't that exciting of a sequence.
It's
because it's done all in CGI, and that's what I'm getting to is the 2 biggest, like, oh shit moments, I believe, are purely CGI.
Well, yeah.
Which is the car swinging and the space. You put that next to like Fast 7, where they jump from one building to another. That was practical elements. Or when they threw the fucking cars out of the plane, they just did that. That was real.
Yeah.
And so as a car action movie, sending your car to space kind of creates a situation where I'm actually less impressed by what I'm seeing.
It immediately cuts the legs off of what's cool about watching cars in an action scene. Like we can't actually see it do a car chase or do anything cool. So it just becomes 2 guys sitting in a car in space, which is fine. I appreciated those 2 characters, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but I fucking loved Tyrese's journey in this movie.
Oh, it's great. I love that they when they ram the satellite, they shift in the car.
Yes. Yeah, they had to put the car into gear.
That was pretty funny. There's stuff to love in this. It's just kind of blah.
Well, the other big set piece was
the truck.
The truck. And what they do with the truck is they flip the truck end over end. And it's like, I saw this in The Dark Knight and they flipped a truck for real.
Yeah, they might have flipped they might have flipped this truck for real, but some of the shots were clearly CG.
Not a lot of it. Like it's like the quote unquote money shots that they were really leaning on. It's like
those look
but
CGI.
I mean, even beyond,
the camera made me assume it was CGI because the camera would go places where I'm like, well, a camera can't swoop in there.
My point is that your big idea is something we've already seen. and it's something we saw 15 years ago in one of the biggest movies of all time.
On top of that, we saw in a Fast and Furious movie, they have truck things like that. I think in like I don't want 6 or so. There's one where they do a truck stunt at the end. On top of that, it's like The Dark Knight, but also Deadpool. There's a few movies where it's like the headquarters is in the truck.
In a moving truck.
An armored truck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Live Free or Die Hard. Or is that the one that Die Hard 4?
Yes.
Yeah. So it felt lazy. And that's what it is that what I get from a movie like Hobbs and Shaw is that the story goes places where you don't even expect it to go. You know, when he goes back to his family and they're fighting with booby traps, it was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is amazing.
Yeah.
What a weird direction to go. This just kind of is a very standard spy thriller plot where it's like they have a MacGuffin. It controls all the satellites. We have to stop them. It felt like a generic James Bond plot, you know?
To the extent where I think they tell us one time what this device does. They don't really explain why it was made or to what purpose it's being concealed by Kurt Russell. And again, like I said, I haven't seen half of these movies, so maybe that was covered in a previous installment. But even just from comparing it to Hobbs and Shaw, which was the last Fast saga movie to come out, there's like twice the action in Hobbs and Shaw. There's so much of this movie. One of the things that really stuck out to me watching this movie is that all the COVID restrictions are lifted in California in theaters.
Right.
So I had a delightful little kid sitting directly next to me who was speaking at full volume the entire film.
Sounds like a nightmare, Tom. That sounds like a nightmare.
She was incredibly restless for the entire film and would just keep turning to her dad and like, why do we have to keep watching this movie? And she's like watching stuff on her phone and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's kids and their attention span. But then I would like look up at the screen and it would be like, we're in the 12th minute of people talking in a Fast and Furious
like,
movie.
I hear you, kid.
And it's like, this is a two and a half hour movie and these motherfuckers won't shut up. Like there's like 3 action sequences in this film. And a lot of
of
it is really awkward plot maintenance, and like they do a lot of weird thing. Like, so everybody knows the story, I think, about how there's like when you get big action guys like Vin Diesel or The Rock or Jason Statham, they all have individual sort of guidelines of how they can be portrayed on film because, you know, each one of them has to keep maintaining a career as a action star that people actually buy. So they all have like stipulations where they can't get embarrassed in a fight or something like that. But it gets to the point where they can't even fight each other. So we get, in this movie, one of the big selling points is the bad guy is John Cena, and he's Vin Diesel's brother. We get one fight scene between the two of them, and we see the entirety of it in a trailer. And it's just Vin tackles him, they throw a couple of punches, and then they run off in opposite directions. And that is the only time they fight in the film.
Right. Because it's a Fast and Furious movie, they have a habit, and it's funny because it's almost like the meta of it, where they know, like, whenever we introduce a villain, they're inevitably going to be a good
hero,
guy.
yeah.
They don't even try.
They don't even try, yeah. They don't explain why.
John Cena is good by the end of the movie.
For no reason. They don't explain why. Like,
because the villain, if you remember, decides to double-cross John Cena in the middle of completing the plan.
In the middle of the plot, yeah.
Yeah, instead of waiting until they've won, just like randomly, they're at the truck. They're like driving with the MacGuffin, and he just double crosses him.
Yeah,
and it's like you still need him, right?
Yeah, you still need him for like at least another 10 minutes, man. Pump the brakes.
Yeah,
like, is he charging you by the second?
Right. And I guess here's the thing: Hobbs and Shaw, a lot of stupid plot, right? A lot of stupid having to get from A to B to C.
Yes.
Here's what makes it work is that the writers know that, and they know that it doesn't matter. And so they can do stuff like have Kevin Hart just show up and be like, hey, I'm a travel guy. You want me to hook you up? They can have Ryan Reynolds just like do a bit. They knew that the exposition scenes were meaningless, so they made them fun.
Mm-hmm. And they do that a little bit in here, but...
Yeah, but not nearly enough.
Not as much as they need to, yeah. Okay, so one there are two things that I wanted to note that what you just said brought up. They did that once that I actually flagged, and it's a scene with Helen Mirren. That would have been just a normal exposition scene of Vin being like, I need to find this person who came to London, and she can tell him, well, somebody came to London a few weeks ago and started hiring a bunch of dudes. You should look into that guy. But they do it by they do it in a car chase where Helen Mirren has just stolen a valuable necklace and is driving Vin Diesel in a car chase against the police. That's brilliant instinct. Do more of that.
Yes, that was the best part of the movie.
Best part of the movie. If you're going to have an exposition scene with Helen Mirren, make it a fucking car chase because it's Fast and Furious, baby. The thing with I said about John Cena becoming a good guy for no reason, it's like, yeah, the people he's working for, who is this weird German guy, and then also Charlize Theron, double cross him, bafflingly. But then he's just good after that. Like these people, family. Like he was a mercenary bad guy for the past 3 decades, and these people were just his latest contract, and they tried to fuck him over. But so like, why is he a good guy now?
Well, they let him go. So the implication is his career continues, but his beef with Vin is settled. It's still dumb. Look,
I want to talk
dumb.
for 700 years about his beef with Vin. So, but let's finish this thought. Yeah, go ahead. You're saying it's dumb?
No, it is. Of course it's dumb. I think the implication, though, at the end, they kind of do what the first Fast and Furious did, right? Where he lets him go.
Yeah. That's what
he just says, get out of here.
Yeah, he gives him a 10-second car, I think, and it's a reference to Brian letting Vin get away in the first one, right?
Yeah. So I think that's what's happening. It's just the movie is so messy that emotional impact of that doesn't really matter. Brian or John Cena is just he's ridiculous in this.
I want to talk. Okay.
I have a lot of things I want to talk about.
Okay.
I want to talk about the fact that Charlize Theron changes clothes while in prison several times and is dressed like a fashion model.
Dave, did you notice what's not in her cell?
What?
A toilet.
Oh, where has she been pooping?
I don't know, man. It's a clear plastic Magneto prison, and there's no Duke shoot in there.
Imagine if there was just a pile of shit that kept getting bigger every time we cut back. But she literally changes into red leather pants between scenes where she's in the prison. She has like gorgeous earrings.
Yeah. She's wearing like $50,000. She looks like a John Wick villain.
Yeah, in prison. She's in
a little Magneto jail with no toilet.
They like capture her from a plane. She's like being transported, and she's in designer clothes.
Yeah.
It is incredibly silly. But that's the sort of shit that I'm like, I love it. Give me more of that, you know?
Yeah.
Give me more of that dumb shit. I love that when Vin Diesel goes to do the job at the beginning, they just leave his kid.
Yeah.
Like, they have to later say Brian's watching the kid, but initially they just abandon their child.
Yeah.
In like the middle of the night.
Yeah, fuck this kid.
Yeah.
One of the most heroic things this movie does is an entire heist carried out by John Cena just lazily ziplining over the city of Edinburgh.
Why was he doing that?
Because it's amazing.
And lazily is the perfect word. He dangles.
He's just dangling. All I could think of was the flying nun. Like, yeah. And then more specifically, the flying Poppins in the Arrested Development, like Little Britain or whatever. Like, that is exactly what it looks like. Is Mary Poppins.
Imagine tying a corpse to a zip line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not that high.
It's not that high.
It's like rooftop level is how high he is off the ground, so anyone would see him. And he's doing this across. I am not exaggerating when I say he's doing this across the entire city.
Yeah.
Like, he has to stop on a rooftop and shoot a second line.
And doesn't he, like, pick up that gun?
Yes.
So someone put the guns there in advance.
This is a pre-planned zipline route.
All he's doing...
This is his escape.
Yep. All he's doing is meeting a guy who's driving alongside him on the ground.
Well... This is after he's stolen the second half of the device.
Right.
Which is a whole other thing, because they just yada. It just cuts to him in the vault taking the second half of the MacGuffin.
Yes,
You're like, that was easy.
Yeah. I had to, it would have been a rewind moment.
Seems like this would have been a good...
What happened?
Yeah, it seems like this would have been a good point for an action scene. I don't know, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, they do a brief. I did like when
we never
Vin
even
tackles him off the zip line.
he tackles him
and
off the zip line.
And they fight so hard that he bashes Vin Diesel's head into the doorway.
It's the only lick Cena gets in, and it brings it back to this weird the thing that I was talking about earlier about like how these action stars have their stipulations, and then of course on top of that you have Vin Diesel, who is like legendarily a maniac about his on-screen image. So it seems like he keeps casting like deliberately guys that are huger than him.
Yeah, so he can beat them up.
So he can beat them up. Like they show a scene where like it's Cena standing up after Vin has battered him down, and they're like squaring off, and it's like Cena is visibly twice his size.
Right.
It's very funny that we never. It weirded me out how little Cena actually gets used in this movie, because that's pretty much the only action scene he does. There's a brief one in the end when he gets double crossed where he fights a big guy on top of a truck, but the rest of the movie he doesn't really do anything. It's like all setting him up for future movies.
So I have a tough question. Because I love him. I love his movies, but is Vin Diesel hurting this franchise?
And maybe.
I think of, all right, I remember I think it was the How Did This Get Made about Hobbs and Shaw. They point out a very simple fact. Remember the scene where they have to wear disguises?
Yeah.
And it's The Rock in like a mustache and like as
with a
they
stupid
put it
name.
very, yeah, they summed it up for me really well. They just said Vin Diesel would never do that. And that kind of is the problem.
It is, very much so.
For other movies, for example, the XXX films or the Riddicks, his sensibilities work really well because he takes himself so seriously and that he's not doing things ironically, which works really well.
Mm-hmm.
But we've gotten to this point in this franchise where it's so meta that you kind of need Vin Diesel to lighten up.
Yeah.
To have like a sense of humor about the series.
Right.
Because it becomes dull otherwise. We need a scene where he wears a mustache and goes in disguise somewhere and is very obviously Vin Diesel.
Yeah, he's part of his... You're right, because it works so well with him in other franchises. I think that Riddick is like secretly his most interesting character. It's for a lot of those reasons.
He's great. He's great. I love his films, but he's... Yeah, I like Hobbs and Shaw, they make fun of each other constantly.
Yeah, the thing that I was going to say is part of his issue is he's not really, weirdly, he's not really willing to make fun of himself that much. And then
doesn't have a good enough sense of humor.
He's also has a problem with sharing the spotlight. So it's like as the casts of these movies get bigger and bigger and bigger, it's going to continue to be, we're going to continue to have spin-offs like Hobbs and Shaw that have the actual fun stuff in it.
Right, and it felt like this movie...
Vin still has to look cool. He has to be the coolest.
Yeah. In the scenes where Vin wasn't there, they felt like they were cramming in all the jokes.
Yeah.
A good example is the Helen Mirren scene. Great idea, right?
Yeah.
You know what made it better? If Vin Diesel was afraid in the scene, but he can't be afraid, so he's cool about it. Mm-hmm. It would have been a lot more fun if Helen Mirren took him for a ride that made him fucking like uncomfortable, you know?
Yeah.
But that they obviously they couldn't do that. Also, she gives him a ride to a fuck party.
Yeah, she does.
I'm pretty sure it's the mansion from the Ninth Gate. What a great way to arrive at a fuck party driven by Helen Mirren.
Yeah, it looks like a Hitman level.
Yeah. Speaking of reused sets, fucking Star Wars is in this. Did you notice that shit?
No.
The where they go to test the rockets. That's the Rebel base in the first newest one.
Oh, dude,
with all the mounds.
I don't fucking
all the
remember.
hills?
I saw that movie one time.
Oh, okay. It's like they clearly went to the abandoned Star Wars set and they filmed that sequence. Maybe it was originally something else.
I think, or maybe Star Wars filmed at a jet propulsion tests.
That's what I mean.
Range.
Is like it might have been a thing already, but that was very much that set.
Here is a major thing that I want to talk about, and I think it has a lot. Maybe I don't know how much it has to do, but it's probably related to Vin's temperament and his desperate need to look cool, while also his inability to share the spotlight with people.
Right.
Is the whole conflict between him and his brother. Is we have this delightful series of flashbacks in which
it took me so long to realize that actor was supposed to be Vin Diesel, by the way.
Yeah. It's buck wild, but I love it. I want them to do that instead of the horrifying, ghoulish de-aging stuff. Just cast some dude. I don't care. That's acting. That's how movies work.
I know you're going somewhere, but real quick, did they de-age Han in those scenes?
They might have.
It looked good. Whatever they did, it looked good.
I couldn't tell if
the flashbacks.
I couldn't tell if he was just wearing a wig so that he had his long hair. It was hard to tell. So their dad is a stock car racer, or NASCAR, and they're on his pit crew working on his car during a race, and their dad crashes and explodes and dies. The guy that pits him, Dom goes to jail for attacking the driver that pitted their dad into the wall. Michael Rooker takes young John Cena in to raise him. And then we get another scene later when Dom finally gets out of jail and he confronts his brother Jacob as John Cena and is like, I found out what you did. And Jacob's, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, Dad exploded after you tinkered with the engine, so you murdered him. So we're in
someone in jail, someone tells him oh, if you do blank, 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 that's going to really fuck up your engine.
Yeah. Yeah. So he comes out of jail, accuses his brother of murdering their father, and is like, I'm going to challenge you to a race, and if I win, you leave town and never come back. So they race, he wins, and then Jacob leaves, and we don't see him again until they encounter each other during the action scenes in this movie. Now, the point, theoretically, Dom's arc in this film would be learning that he was wrong, forgiving his brother, repairing that relationship, right? None of that happens.
Well,
they skip to the relationship is already repaired because Dom
learns.
Okay.
Well, he learns something.
Okay, what does he learn?
He learns that his dad told Jacob to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is. I'm not defending it. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah.
What happens is he learns that his dad. This doesn't make any fucking sense, by the way. Owes a lot of money, and then tells Jacob, I want you to sabotage my own car, then profit?
He probably bet against himself. I don't know.
All
it
right.
was either...
But he's also committing suicide, is he not?
It was unclear.
Where he's like, I want you to sabotage my car, and then it explodes. And so the Dom realizes, he was just doing what our father wanted him to do.
Yeah.
He's briefly fucked up. He has a drowning dream about it.
Yeah.
And then he just forgives him.
He doesn't, though. That's what I'm talking about.
He hugs him.
Dom never apologizes. He never says, hey, I'm sorry for saying that you murdered our dad and then not speaking to you for 30 years.
Oh, yeah. Dom is totally in the wrong
He
here.
never apologizes. They never address the fact that he was wrong. Those words never pass between them. And then it ends with... It ends with Dom taking his son, little Brian, to the racetrack where their father exploded. And he says, everything I learned about life, I learned on this track. And it's you learned how to accuse your brother of murder and abandon him for 3 decades?
Yeah, also it's wait, really? Because we've never seen this track
and we literally never seen this track before. We didn't even know your dad was a stock car driver. And then it ends that goes into one final flashback of Dom walking up to Jacob as the cops are arriving after he's beaten the other driver with a wrench, about to go to jail.
Right.
And Jacob's distraught. He's broken down and crying because on top of everything that's happened, we also know that he knows that he just helped his dad kill himself. He didn't realize that's what he was doing. But his Dom walks up to weepy Jacob and is like, yo, family is forever, man. He says the family line about how we got family. We're going to get through this. Everything is going to be all right. Don't worry. And it ends on that note that's triumphant. And it's but
we know what's going to happen.
You showed us that what happens right after this is that he accuses Jacob of killing their father and cuts him out of the family for 3 decades.
Yep.
What are you trying to tell me?
I think they had a hard situation here because they needed to introduce Dom's brother. And if you were making a real movie series, you would have done that 5 films ago, But they didn't. So they're like, we need to cram in a new character. What if it's Dom's brother?
Real quick. Just part of the franchise's identity is doing weird shit like that, so I don't hate them that much for that. That's part of it.
No, they love doing this.
Yeah, it's
they
finding...
go back and rewrite the past all the time.
And people
including
love it.
why Han Han faking his death because Kurt Russell helps him.
Yeah.
And it's like if you go back and watch those scenes, you're like,
there's no way.
He did not
There's
do
no
that.
way. He's dead. Like they make it very clear that there's no fucking way he
But it
got out
doesn't
of that
matter.
car before it exploded. But we don't care. Like we don't care. It's fine.
It was smart of them to do it. All right, we have Dom's brother, so it's like clearly they have beef. So it was a smart idea to be they're estranged. But you're right, is that it kind of needed more humility. At the end, Dom is like, he's like the gatekeeper to the crew, where he's just stone-faced and makes judgments, and he's never wrong. So in this case, he's just like, I have new information, therefore you are now family again. But he never
apologizes.
He never says, we should have talked.
Never even.
Maybe we should have raced.
It's right. It's like it's not just that he doesn't apologize. He does not even address the wrong that was done.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It's not ever addressed, and that's fascinating to me.
Oh yeah. Kind of related to this, I want to know, John Cena killing it.
He's good in this. Yeah, he's good.
He's given a good performance. That the hurt on his face in the scenes.
Yeah.
Like you really do feel like he's been wronged and he's carrying this grudge. He's doing a great job.
Yeah. I wish they'd used him for more action.
Mm-hmm.
When he's we already talked about the flying nun bit. Holy shit.
When he's dangling, it is so funny.
My God.
Because it does. He looks like, you know what he looks like? A man on a green screen who wasn't given direction.
He just looks like a dude lazily ziplining.
Yeah. He looks in between takes.
Yeah.
Like he's just got one arm up and that's holding himself, and he's just he's not even swinging or like going with, like gravity isn't applying to him.
He's so dense, like his own inertia is just keeping him motionless.
He's like the Terminator, like he just weighs 600 pounds.
He has his own gravity.
Also, why hasn't John Cena played a Terminator? Anyway,
because they're foolish. He looks like he's moving at half the speed of like the gondola ride at Busch Gardens.
Yes. It's so weird.
He is crawling through the sky.
Yeah.
Birds are passing him.
So I was going to change the subject, but
there was one,
no, keep going.
It's not really something that we need to like dive into, but I had flagged it earlier, so I just wanted to circle back to Tyrese. I really enjoyed his character's journey in this, where he becomes mired in this existential crisis over, he just suddenly realizes that their character's in a movie. He's like, wait, guys, we keep doing incredible things, and none of us are even hurt. Like, I'm not even cut.
He hits the singularity.
Yeah.
He's like... I don't know. It's so meta that I was a little bothered by it. They basically have a scene where he's just like, yeah, why haven't we died or gotten hurt? And it's almost like, and he almost says, it's almost like we're in a movie.
Yeah.
And I like that. I guess what it is I like that idea if the rest of the film was on that level. Like Hobbs and Shaw was on, like if someone said that in Hobbs and Shaw, I think I would be fine with it. In this movie, it felt tonally like they just were trying to cram in comedy wherever they could.
I think it fits enough. Like, it didn't feel out of place for me, and it worked for me because they stuck with it. Like, if it would have just been a thing he said in one scene, it would have been like, oh, okay. But the fact that they
his arc, it's his arc.
It's his arc, and I love that.
Yeah. That they go to space. All right. Space is technically the fastest they've gone, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't furious enough, Tom.
It was not. It was very sedentary.
For example, all right, so what happens is they blast into space, and we start already tied to the plane. So right there, I was like, nah, I want them to get into space by weird circumstance.
Yeah.
I want a more creative way they get into space, but whatever. They blast into space, and then they're just floating there, and they hit the satellite. And now, not that this matters, but what they're doing seems redundant. Because they're on the ground stopping the device that links to the satellite, and they're blowing up the satellite. And it's like, you kind of only need to blow up the satellite, right?
Yeah.
But whatever. And they can't use their magnets to zap the satellite, so they drive into it. And this is where I feel like it went really wrong. Because they crash into it, they do a hard cut to another scene, and they cut back, and they're just in the car, and they're like, "Wow, we made it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wait, why didn't you show me this? What happened?"
The trip to space was very underwhelming. Yeah.
It was weird because they set up the crashing as like, we probably are going to die doing this. And so I thought when it smashed in, I thought like, oh God, they're now like out of the car in their spacesuits. The car's exploded or whatever. No, the car's fine. And they're just sitting there. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? Give me gravity. Have them fling through space. And then on top of that, I was like, okay, well, we still get to see how they have to return. And no, they just hitch a ride on the space station, which is funny.
It's fine.
But again, not furious. I would have loved to see them having to land the car.
Yeah.
And like parachute down.
Re-enter orbit
and then,
in a car.
Yeah, and parachute down and the car survives for some reason. And then they land on a road and they drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just felt like they didn't bring it.
Yeah.
They started an idea and they didn't take it to the ridiculous extremes that they were already presenting.
Yeah, I think
it's
that's
like they're in space. You might as well do whatever.
I think it's a lot of the movie. Yeah. A lot of the film kind of suffers from that, where it's like they get as far as the concept, and it's like, well, the concept is enough. It's like, oh no, it's not. Well, you need to like execute on it.
The magnets also disappointed me, to be honest.
No, I think they did enough with it that I enjoyed the magnets. I thought they did some clever things. There's
some great shit. And again, some effects that I had to later see were indeed practical. Like when that car gets sucked through the building. That was practical. But and also so many dead people, right?
Oh, they're killing
so many people
by the scores. Yeah, it's just it's absurd.
Nails are getting sucked out of boards and going straight through the heads of children. You know, like
right
this has to be happening.
Just tearing their faces up.
Yeah. But I could have still seen more. I would have liked them like using it to repel their cars off jumps.
I was expecting that. I was like, okay,
crazy.
One car is going to drive at another car at like 120 miles an hour, and then they're both going to turn their magnets on, so they just get fucking launched away from each other.
It just felt like there was still more to do.
They did enough, but there was still more they could have done. Yeah. One last thing that I had that I wanted to flag, and it kind of speaks to this movie kind of resting on the concept rather than the execution, and then also into Vin's inability to relinquish his sort of hold on the movie, is
right.
They set up this conflict between Cena and the German guy who he's working for, who's having him steal this device and such, and then they roll on John Cena, but then Cena gets to have things. Oh, Otto, there's something I wanted to tell you. You're a rich piece of trash and I'm gonna kill you. And he's like, all right. So you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like he gets his little villain, because like Vin Diesel's villains is like Charlize Theron. Like he's got like the big bad villain. So like this lesser villain is John Cena. It's like, oh, okay, so we're gonna get to see him do an action scene where he takes this guy out. And no, that's not what happens. It's just Vin Diesel takes control of the truck. We see the German guy stand up behind him, and then Vin Diesel just jumps out of the truck and it flips down a cannon and explodes. And it's like, oh, because it seemed like you guys were setting up like a confrontation between him and John Cena, but I guess we're not doing that.
No, we're not. And for the record, he boomerangs the truck into a drone.
Yeah.
Which was, again, a good idea, but it's all CGI. I enjoyed it, but it's so superhero because he just stands there as the pieces fall around him.
Yeah, he doesn't
even give a shit.
Yeah, he's so focused on being cool that it's like he's forgetting to make the action believable.
Yeah, which again, it's Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Here's what it is to me.
I mean, believable in terms of at least like pretend like this is actually happening to you.
Yeah. Here's what it is to me, is I think these movies, especially Vin Diesel movies, they have a stupid to awesome ratio.
Yes.
And if the ratio's off, if there's not enough awesome, then the stupid really shows.
Yeah.
For example, in Triple X, there's so many stupid plot points, but it's so awesome that it doesn't matter.
Like he jumps a sports car off a bridge and then goes back to his loft to skate with Tony Hawk. That's awesome.
That's awesome and stupid.
But
he
it's the
jumps
best.
a barn and the barn detonates.
Yeah.
He snowboards
down a mountain. Like through the trees. Like there's no snow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that's in the second
That's in the
one,
second
or the third one.
The third one.
He skis.
He skis. That's right. He skis
so
through a jungle.
Dumb. It's so incredibly dumb and awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the end of that when the plane explodes and he just goes flying out.
Yeah.
Like, it's so over the top that you don't care. In this, I was like, again, Hobbs and Shaw, whenever there was a place where there would be a plot hole normally, they just yada yada in such a perfect way that it didn't matter. In this, like, for example, the way they find Han, are they the two
It's Michelle
ladies,
Rodriguez and Jordana Brewster.
Yeah, they're having like dinner and they just happen to see where Han lives.
Yeah, they look up and see his secret hideout. It's just right there in all of Tokyo.
It's just right there where all of Tokyo because it has a Mexican flag on it. And they remembered that he said that like Tokyo is his Mexico or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, wait, what? Like I thought at first that that was like they just saw somebody's Mexican flag and realized a clue. But no, that was Han's apartment. They just look up and see Han's apartment. And that is so dumb and played so straight that it was like, you know what? Give me fucking Ryan Reynolds skateboarding in and giving them information or something. Like you have to make that either better, like written wise, or silly. And they didn't do either. And I think that's the stupid to awesome ratio is just so off that when like there was just, I don't know, I'm trying to think of what the awesome is. Vin Diesel collapsing a ceiling on himself.
Yeah, Vin Diesel turning into a werewolf and murdering 8 guys with his bare hands was pretty awesome.
I don't know why he was doing it because he was like, I'll buy you some time.
Yeah.
And then Michelle Rodriguez just watches it all. And I was like, well, you're not really helping, but whatever.
Yeah, he's like, I'll buy you some time so you can escape. So he shuts the door. He fights a bunch of dudes. He pulls the roof of the cistern down on top of them. And then, like, he's in this water. He has this water dream. And then Michelle Rodriguez just dives in and rescues him. So it was all, like, pointless.
It was all pointless.
But it was awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah, no notes there. Don't
Zero notes. Yeah, I don't care. When else am I going to see Vin Diesel gorilla press a man above his head and then smash his spine down on a metal railing and then just throw his stupid body into an abyss? That's awesome.
Yeah. We just needed more of that.
And he was awesome. Dave, he was roaring while he did it.
Fuck yeah. You know what would have been an amazing thing for them to do? I just have this in my notes. How funny it would have been if they killed Han 5 minutes after introducing him.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been so perfect.
Yeah, he just steps on a landmine or something.
Yeah. Oh, the landmine was fun.
That whole bit, yeah.
Where he's over the landmine and has to crawl out of the car and jump. I think it could have been filmed better, honestly. I think it should have been quicker, but it was a great concept. I really liked that concept.
Yeah, it was a fun little bit. And then the mine blows the car so that it flips completely over him, but it looks like it's landed on him. It's a fun fake out.
I also like that they're in the jungle, right? They're going to the plane crash at the beginning to recover the stuff. Who brought, I guess Vin Diesel, he's driving a sports car.
He brought his
jungle.
car. Yeah, he brought his fucking whatever it is, his Charger, I think. Anyway, he brought like
into
his
the jungle.
Yeah, he brought his signature car because of course he did. He's a dummy.
Everybody else has Jeeps. And he's in a fucking sports car.
Because he's
like
an awesome
asshole.
dummy.
Yeah. But again, that's the great stuff.
Yeah, that's what's awesome. That's the shit that we want. Yeah.
It's like, okay. It's like a delicious cake, Tom. And the cake has a cream filling. And you need a certain amount of cream filling to like really make that cake feel decadent and gross. And this just felt dry. There wasn't enough cream filling in this cake.
Yeah, I needed my cake to be wetter.
Yeah, when I hit the cream filling with my fork, it was delicious, but it wasn't enough. There just wasn't enough of that. And like the cake part is great too, but you just need that ratio. And this just didn't have the ratio. And it's hard to pin down exactly why. And I think it's a lot of things. I think it's what you said. The trailer showed us everything. I think it's the big stunts were all mostly CGI. There was no big stunt that was practical.
Yeah,
through and through,
I think we're starting to see the series get too comfortable. Like it's too comfortable with the idea that it's going to be the biggest hit of the year. You know what I mean? Like it feels like
and it is. It's going to be the biggest hit of the year.
You're starting to get the sense of, well, we don't need to try that hard because we're going to be a big hit.
Yep. And I think we're also getting the problem with escalation.
Yeah.
Which is that
the escalation is definitely an issue.
Well, if you do it wrong, because I honestly think the instinct of going to space is the wrong instinct of how to escalate this franchise. I think the right instinct is, again, Hobbs and Shaw. Have a bunch of cars strapped to a helicopter and have The Rock be pulling them.
Yeah.
That isn't technically the biggest stunt they did, but it's the situation that's escalated. It's the ridiculousness escalating.
Yeah.
Going to space means CGI, and it means not really car stunts. Doing a crossover with Jurassic Park, which apparently Universal wants. That's not the escalation. I think people believe that's what they want, but I don't think it'll actually be the escalation people are hoping for.
Yeah, because it won't be as fun in the execution, inevitably.
Yeah, although I will say the space scenes, they could have been more fun. They could have done something crazier. Like I want to see that car burning up in re-entry with Vin Diesel clinging to the side.
Yeah, and he comes spinning out of it and has to then is in like a free fall, and that's like its own situation as he's returning to Earth. Just fucking make it crank. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, just if you're gonna go over the top, go over the top.
Yeah.
And it ultimately this feels like an Age of Ultron in that it's a in between movie that's sort of setting things in place for Fast 10. Like it was like, oh yeah, Charlize Theron has to get out.
Yeah.
We have to introduce John Cena. We have to continue to write reasons why Brian isn't around.
Yeah.
Man, he's just babysitting.
Yeah. He's just a big nerd who doesn't want to go on the adventures anymore.
Yeah. But that, yeah, it felt like they were doing maintenance more than anything.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, I think this is going to be one that people are just going to forget about in the series.
I think this will be one of the ones that's not.
It's going to be a quantum of solace.
Yeah, it's going to be a real quantum of solace.
Yeah.
It's going to be the one you skip in the box set.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are enjoying it because I think where we are in life right now, everybody could use a Fast and Furious movie. I certainly enjoyed sitting in a theater watching it, and it's a nice comfort. I just think in the big picture, we're going to look back on it and be like, oh yeah, that one wasn't that great, actually.
It was a real nothing, yeah. Again, I felt nothing watching this movie for most of it.
Yeah, a lot of the Mission Impossibles are now kind of like that. Like, remember the one where he's on the plane, strapped to the side? I don't even remember what movie that was. I just remember the stunt.
Yeah.
And it's like, I couldn't tell you the plot of any of those. I can just tell you about the stunts that I liked, and that's fine. They're fun to watch in the moment, and then you sort of forget about them. And I think that's what elevated Hobbs and Shaw, because I think about that movie like every day.
Yeah. It's a pretty incredible film.
Yeah, I think about The Rock in disguise.
Yeah, that carries me off to the dreamlands every night. Yep, just thinking about that.
Because Hobbs and Shaw, some of the best parts of that movie wasn't the action.
Yeah, that's very true. It's the charisma, the performers, and yeah.
And this lacked charisma.
It really did. He really tamps it down. Vin Diesel does. I'm blaming him because it seems like it's his issue.
Well, I would say John Cena also has. He's supposed to be serious because he's the villain, but like Charlize Theron, she's not having nearly as much fun as she should be. She's not that funny. That Yoda line was fun, but that was pretty much it. Like that one Yoda scene.
Yeah, and it was after an entire scene of Star Wars references.
Yeah, I don't think they gave them enough good dialogue.
I don't think they cared enough about this. So that's what I'm saying. I think they got this one definitely smacks of this is too comfortable.
Yeah. It is. It's too comfortable. They didn't do enough. Shame on them.
Yeah, how fucking dare they? Anyway.
Enjoy your money. Enjoy all your money.
Enjoy your $1 billion. I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, I'm all set.
All right.
Hey, folks, thanks for listening. As always, we should tell you about our Patreon real quick. Patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. If you go on there, you can find exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder is a Maniac and Star Trek The Next Futurama. We watch movies every Friday night with our patrons. I would watch a Fast and Furious. Probably not this one, but we watched Hobbs and Shaw, I'm sure, right?
We must have.
We haven't watched Tokyo Drift, Tom.
Oh, well, that's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll have to fix that.
We also have a store, tpublic.com/store/gamefully unemployed, where you can get t-shirts, masks, mugs, stickers, posters, all kinds of things. So check that out if you want. I don't know.
I don't know either. Who can say?
I don't know what anybody wants anymore.
It's crazy, man.
Mystery.
Yeah, I just want to lie in bed and fucking do cryptograms until I die.
Do it.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I will.
Yep. Make your way towards that reality 1/4 mile at a time.
Family, etc.
Yeah, etc. You murdered my dad, but I'm giving you a 10-second head start.
Yeah.
Never going to apologize.
Never gonna. Finn doesn't apologize.
No, he's never been wrong.
He has that as a tattoo somewhere on his body.
Oh, I think we know where it is.